welcome back to episode 2 of UNI. We're very excited to be back, and today we are joined by Gareth and Mark. Guys, you excited to be here?
It's always great to be at Windsor Park.
Yep, just wish the games were now.
And before we actually get into today's episode, we've actually got a very exciting competition to announce. We've actually got 2 copies of EA FC 24. So for you guys, you can have a chance to win this. All you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the Northern Ireland YouTube channel, and leave a comment below what platform you will play the game on, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox. All the best, and I actually wish I was getting one of these myself.
I've never played any of those games. I don't have the patience for it.
It's a good game.
It's people queuing up at shops, for midnight releases and all. No, come on.
Yeah, it's very addictive.
It does look pretty good, to be fair. So we're waiting for the actual league to be added to it.
So we're going to start off by playing a game. How many players can Mark and Gareth name in the 25-man squad? The number of players that they name is the amount of prizes we're going to be giving away on the San Marino game and the Slovenia game.
Luke, Bailey, Connor, that's the keepers.
3 keepers. You've Hume, Heavens, Toll at the back. Lewis is back. You've Saville, McCann in midfield. As far as you think.
Forwards, who?
Isaac Price, you've got Callum Marshall, Dale Taylor, Connor Washington,
McGuinness is on.
Josh McGuinness,
2,
George Saville.
and that's it.
Isn't there this time, yeah.
How many did we get?
That's terrible.
14. So 14 prizes we're going to give away across the 2 games, San Marino and Slovenia. So the fans are going to be happy with you guys.
I need to multiply that by 2 for 2 games.
We're going to get straight into the squad then.
Probably good to have Lewis back to add a wee bit of balance to the left hand side. I thought Hume done pretty well there in the last game, but if he maybe can he can play a normal position at right back and balance it with Lewis.
We'll start with the forwards actually. Callum Marshall's back in the squad. He's doing really well for the West Ham under 21s. 12 goals in 9 games. He was on the bench for the actual League Cup game as well. Are you guys happy to see him back in the squad? You expect him to get some game time over these next 2 games?
I definitely would. I think he's slightly different to the rest of the strikers. He's got that predatory instinct. We saw that in Copenhagen with the goal that never was. And I think he's so used to scoring goals. And people maybe say he's playing under 20 level. To me, that doesn't matter. David Healy wasn't playing first team football when he first came into the All-Ireland senior team. And I think, you can't really compare Callum with David, obviously, yet. But he has similar attributes. I think he could be a really exciting player for the future. I know Josh has had a difficult time with injuries, but having him in and around that squad is going to help massively. I know behind the scenes he's great for everybody, and on the pitch, I always think we're a better side when Josh is on the pitch.
Yeah. He's definitely a bit of a senior man now, because you have so many of the guys, I know you have Johnny Evans is there, but with Davis missing, with Dallas still missing, Josh is really a senior head, as you can, like you say, you can tell around sort of dressing rooms and stuff. He's a big character.
Yeah. Into the midfield, Brad Lyons keeps his position. He got his first call up last time. Do you expect him to get some minutes this time round?
I think it'll be difficult for Brad again. It's probably more. I know he's not at an age where he's not one of the younger lads, but I think it'll be difficult. It's only his second time in the squad, and look, we need victories. It's not a case of just giving people caps. We do need victories. We need points on the board. But it'll stand him in good stead. I think Brad could be a really big player, get into the Nations League and then the World Cup campaign afterwards. And I think that's vital. But the one I'm actually looking forward to seeing if he gets time is Paddy Lane. Mm-hmm. He can't stop scoring for Portsmouth at the moment. That's when I looked at Paddy Lane for a long time, I saw a left back. Certainly when he made his debut for us, he was a left back. So it's going to be good to see him, to see if he can carry that on.
Yeah, he looks like someone with a bit of technical ability too, which is sometimes maybe a wee bit missing in the side. Mm-hmm. It's always a bit of a cliche to say someone's got a really nice left foot, but he does, and he's got that wee bit of quality. I suppose with Lions, you look at that, Ali McCann and Shea Charles are sort of doing fairly good things at the top of the championship. So they do have he's a wee bit in front of him, but great experience for him to get involved in there.
Yeah, Lane, Spencer and Toll were actually late call-ups the last time as well, and all 3 of them retained their position, so it's good to see that as well. Into the defence then, got Johnny Evans playing for Man United now, doing pretty well. Obviously he's still one of our best players. You've got Jamal Lewis back in the squad. Trey Hume done quite well last time as well. What do you guys think of the defenders that we've called up?
I was loving Daniel Ballard's bullet header last Friday night for Sunderland at Sheffield Wednesday. Like, he's obviously a massive part of the future of the team, and hopefully as an Armagh man, one told could maybe get a few minutes this time too. Like, I don't know, it'd be probably a question for Marshall Gillespie as to whether there's ever been a senior international player for Northern Ireland from Armagh City, but maybe one told could be that man next weekend.
Yes, hopefully. What do you think of the defence?
Yeah, look, it's exactly what I thought it would be. But Jamal Lewis has a lot of experience at international level, so that's going to help. Johnny Evans has just been a Rolls Royce since he came back to Manchester United, and you know he knew he wasn't going to play in every game, but you can see already that Ten Hag trusts him. And he would admit himself in the last doubleheader he didn't play particularly well. I know he scored a cracking goal, but he didn't play particularly well. But I think we have to expect that. You know, it's been a long time since Johnny's played a run of games. But look, there's no doubt that we're a much, much better side when he plays.
Yeah.
That ball he pinged to Bruno from the Man United game there a couple of weeks ago, like, was just like everyone in English football was just raving about it. Like, and I think people forget how good Johnny Evans is. Like, he's good
on the ball as well.
He's been a class player for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And like, if he was English, he would have probably played like as many games for them as he has for us. Like, he's just so good.
Yeah, he is brilliant. We really touched on a little bit already about the young players that we have coming through. We touched on Callum Marshall, Toll, Hume. All these young guys are coming through. They're getting good minutes as well at their clubs too. Are you hopeful for us going forward? You know, looking at the next qualification for the Euros and World Cup. Are you excited about our youth coming through?
Well, you have to be. It was a big part of when Ian Barcliffe was in charge. Like, how many of those guys in that squad have made their first appearances under his management, and carrying on now into O'Neill, into his second reign. Like, you've Shea Charles there too, who's now probably seen as a senior player in the Northern Ireland squad. Like, he's still only young too. Like, and like, he's a class act. Like, watching him in person, like, you just realise how good he is and how technically good he is. But there is a lot of young guys there. Dale Taylor's another one, like, with the JD Academy, has a bright future as well. Like, sort of probably more as a forward than a midfielder really, but like a real bustling presence that can sort of maybe make things happen, potentially off the bench, but hopefully can maybe make an impact.
Yeah, I love that Dale's gone out on loan several times. You can see he's grown, you know, even his body shape is different. I think he carries a goal threat. I think he brings a lot of players into play as well. He's probably the one out of them all. I mean, Trey Hume to me already as a senior player, so I wouldn't put him in that category. We've discussed Callum Marshall, but
Isaac Price as well.
Well, he went to Belgium.
Standard Liège, yeah.
So to have young Northern Ireland players, you've him and you've like Bailey's still young too. Like, guys going and playing their football on the continent. Like, you're only going to learn, you're only going to get better. I did feel sorry for Bailey after, was it the game after the international break? Was it
the sending off?
The rugby tackle on the line. He missed the ball and just got. So I presume he's probably had his feet up since the last camp. But like, Bailey's been pretty consistent for us for a long time. He is the number one. There probably is a challenge, like, because Hazard's playing really, really well for Plymouth in the Championship. But I think Bailey's still pretty set in there too.
I think the thing for me is this campaign has to be about them finding their feet. You know, we all want wins and we all think we should be beating these teams, but they have to find their feet in this squad. You know, we have to look to the next World Cup campaign before those guys can start really producing the goods that we all hope and believe that they can do. But I think it's not even the ones in the squad as well. I think there are other guys there, you know, the likes of Aaron Donnelly at Nottingham Forest. You know, I think he could have a really, really bright future as well. So I think there's a lot to work with, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves as well. You know, Callum Marshall scored, you know, the goal it never was, like I said, in Copenhagen, and everyone thinks he'll just come into the squad and score goals. It's never as simple as that.
No, because he found that out as well, because he didn't get called up last time for the previous two games. But he's back in now, which is great to see. Cahir also announced his retirement. Great servant for Northern Ireland. Played Premier League football as well for a long time in his career. What do you guys think of his retirement?
I wasn't overly surprised, if I'm being honest. He's had a tough time with injuries. He left Watford. And he took that move to Belgium, and it kind of came a bit out of the blue. He left the squad to get it all sorted in 24 hours. It never looked like it was a particularly great fit, even though he had played in Belgium earlier in his career. But look, what a player he's been for Northern Ireland. He's sensational on the pitch, off the pitch, level-headed lad. Some big moments, and of course he was a big part of Euro 2016 as well, which he's written his name in the history books.
You'd imagine probably as well that wee period there last year, when Steve Davis was injured and Johnny was injured, the fact that he was captain of the country, that could be a career highlight, and who knows, that could play a part in maybe someone thinking what do you have left to achieve, almost but a real solid citizen for Northern Ireland on the pitch. When he was there, you were always happy to see him named in the team, and fair enough, you do have a couple of younger guys coming through there now, but he'll definitely be missed. There's no doubt about that.
His dad will never forget the game we played in Finland after we'd qualified. Remember, we beat Greece, went to Finland, and he scored, and his dad had a bet on us scoring as well, so he made a few quid as well.
I think that's the coldest I've ever been at a game of football.
No, he will be missed, and all the best to him in the future. Moving on to our first game, San Marino. What do you guys expect? How do you expect that game to go? What should we be looking out for? What threats does San Marino carry?
Look, it's simple. We have to win.
We beat them the first time round, of course.
We can talk around it and say, international football, there's no easy games. There are. San Marino. I mean, let's be honest. They've never won a game. So, look, out there, I thought we played well for a lot of the time. Yeah. Maybe weren't as clinical as we should have been. And that's always going to be a problem, going back years anyway, so it's not really a fault of this squad. But for me, the simple fact is I don't care how we play, we have to beat San Marino.
Yeah.
You would like a convincing result as well. I know we won 2-0 out there, and it was fairly straightforward. They never really put a big pile of pressure on us. You would like to maybe get an early goal, a couple more goals, and be dominant and be in a position where you can make attacking subs and maybe put a couple of those younger guys on, in the second half, and even potentially save a few guys for the Tuesday night game, which should be tougher. Mm-hmm. But as Mark says, San Marino were one of the easier games in international football. You have to say, to get no points against Kazakhstan, they were fairly average. That was a game you wouldn't really needed to be picking something out of last month. So there is no other result against San Marino other than you would like to think a win to 0.
Well, Michael O'Neill won't be as blasé as I was, obviously, there, but remember San Marino scored an own goal or an offside goal.
Yeah.
Over there.
So they did carry a threat.
Is there.
They did. And we haven't won at home yet as well.
No, and look, I think defensively we have disappointed, let's say, in the campaign. So there will be a threat there, but having seen the squad and seen some of the performances and flashes of the performances, I think we will beat San Marino quite convincingly.
It's hard to really say too much about them because obviously you don't really know.
Yeah, we don't really watch.
Players. I think they all play in
we can only see them against the other teams in the group
or whatever. Even if even at that level, so it's tough to really say too much.
So nothing but a convincing win is what we're going for.
It has to be simple as that.
Simple. Well, what's not so simple is maybe the next game, Slovenia. Tough game we had away there last month. What do you guys think we're going to do this time round?
As at home, you would like to compete a wee bit more, and we did compete out there, to be fair. But you look through the Slovenia side, and you're picking players out from a lot of the top European clubs, and I think a lot of maybe our fans are maybe a wee bit blasé to think Slovenia, they're not that big, they're only a small country or whatever. But you've got some really top class players there in that side, and the
real physical team as well, really strong.
The guy Sasko up front, he's one of the real sort of coming young players. I know, Howland at United and Denmark's doing big things, but I think he's probably the sort of name in that sort of similar category. And he's going to be someone that's probably talked about, maybe next summer or in January as a big money. And we're seeing in that first game against us, he just absolutely lethal.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's interesting the difference. So you mentioned Howland there. There was a lot of talk of him before we played in Copenhagen, and he may as well have sat beside us. He's obviously a very good player, but Slovenia have loads of those players. You're right, they're physical, they can play a bit. But I think it's easy to look at our results so far and just get sort of doom and gloom about it all. I think there are a lot of positive things in their performances. And it reminds me in many ways of Michael's first campaign. You know, we won one game, we were really struggling, but we were in every game and we're not getting battered. That's the thing. Yeah. You know, I think it will eventually turn. That's going to be a much, much more difficult game, but all the more reason why we have to get that performance and result against San Marino. And it just gives everyone a lift. It gives the fans a lift when they come into the stadium before a ball's kicked.
Exactly.
I think what we need is a result, to be honest. Like you mentioned, but
get something from that game.
First campaign, be it either, well, so the San Marino game, I think looking at that there, like -21.
Obviously, we want positive results, but as I say, we are looking to the future. We want to find our feet, get the performances correct for the next couple of games, then hopefully next campaign, next qualification group that we're in, we can actually compete. And
I think the big thing for me, when you look at the table, it feels like an opportunity missed. Now, you have to delve a bit deeper. I think if we had all of our main players available and we were sitting in fifth, that's a massive opportunity missed because we're more than good enough with everybody to at least finish second in that group, I think. Yeah. But look, Michael's been dealt a tough hand. You know, with so many senior players missing, I don't think we ever really stood a chance.
If you had like a draw against Denmark with that Callum Marshall goal and like 2 wins against Kazakhstan, like because
what could have been,
like it really could have been a whole different story altogether. Like even Finland at home, like they like lost 1-0 that day, like they weren't great.
No,
like they were standard enough sort of side.
Yeah.
Like, it is a missed opportunity. There's no two ways about it. Like I think that's maybe why the change happened. Like when it did, is thinking like this is a really positive draw, and it has worked out that.
I think if you look though,
it slid by.
When Michael took over, sort of December time, you could see that there was definitely a chance we could qualify here. Everyone, even the players, the fans, everyone thought there was a chance. But 6 weeks later, so many players were injured. And that's why I say
Steve Davis went down. Like you're sort of talking like what's the worst way you could possibly enter 2023? Like one of the country's like second greatest ever player goes down. Like
he's done all right since, to be fair.
Well, that's the manager of Rangers.
What's your starting 11 then for our next two games?
Michael always throws something random in. There's always somebody playing. You go, it's a bit left field.
What do you think that is? Is that just for the sake of fitting someone in, or?
No, I just think the way he thinks about the game, it's certainly much more than I ever could. So he can see things that the normal fan can't see. And of course, he sees them in training as well. So that's the big difference.
You don't know who's turning up, say next Monday, maybe a knocker or niggle, and maybe not.
The thing that annoys me though, Paddy McNair playing at the back. Certainly, if we play a back three, Paddy's always in the back three. I think we miss so much of Paddy going forward. And I know he plays in a back three for Middlesbrough. But for us, he's one of our main goal threats. And that really frustrates me. I understand why it happens. And certainly now with no Craig, I think it'll probably will be Johnny or Paddy, Dan and Johnny as a back three.
Realistically, certainly against Slovenia, you'd imagine they'll play as a back three with hopefully maybe Hume and Lewis as wing backs. You could have a midfield three, potentially McCann, Saville and Charles, and then maybe possibly McManaman and either.
I think McManaman has to play. He's been a real bright spark.
He's been super, like for the last couple of games.
Isaac Price,
he's been really
playing
good.
Last game as well.
And Isaac got his first goal.
It was good for him.
Price has been a real bright spark. Like he was one we didn't really mention when we were talking about the young guys. Like he's been super. Like coming in as a total unknown in Denmark. Like he just was everywhere.
Yeah.
In Denmark, like he covered every blade of grass. It'd be great to see a bit of Paul Smith as well, because someone who's doing well, playing regularly, and like making an impact.
I would also have to mention Matty Kennedy, because Matty's been in and around our squad for years. And he's probably only got a handful of caps. And fair play to him, because it must get frustrating if you travel around Europe and you never get to kick a ball, you never get off a bench. Yeah. And, certainly down the years, I'm sure a lot of players decided to give it up for that reason. But he's stuck by it. And, he got a good move in the summer. He's at Kilmarnock now. And I think there's a bit of a rebirth in him. He showed flashes in the last couple of games. whether he would start these games, I'm not so sure.
He felt a wee bit like a fall guy in Kazakhstan when he came off quite early, because he was no better or worse than anyone else.
So who was your midfield again? Who's your free in midfield? You're going for a free in midfield, aren't you?
I think realistically that's how it'll probably be in the Slovenia game.
So who you picking?
You would think McCann and Charles are nailed on to be
Saville,
in there.
would you say as well?
You're probably thinking either Saville or Thompson. I would imagine to really play in there.
I would have Thompson there, see, just for set pieces. I would have Thompson there. I think he gives me more confidence than most.
That's something like we were talking about in our group chat there earlier in the week. Is like the biggest regression probably in Northern Ireland is our set piece game. Like you think the Euros is always what we're going to hark back to, but like we were probably the best set piece team in Europe. Like every corner, every free kick, you thought you were going to score because like you were putting in top class balls and you had Macaulay
until we overcomplicated it.
And that was it. It's all that came into all the short free kicks and short corners and stuff. Like just
Play the ball.
Stick to what we're good at.
Just kick it to Macaulay. Like he's massive and he's class.
Can we not wheel him out for one of these games now?
Who's your forwards then for the game?
I think
who would you start?
Charles, really. He's
scoring goals.
Playing regularly, scoring goals. It would be, if you're picking on form, certainly it would make sense.
But look, I think when it comes to the Slovenia game, there's going to be a physical battle. I want Josh in there. I think he does give us something there. I think Connor McMenamin has to start, and if it's a front three, he has to start. There's no question about that.
I thought Washington done pretty well in Kazakhstan too. He occupied the defenders, and if things had worked out differently, he could have had a couple of goals that night.
You could see Connor Washington running us harder for 70 minutes, and then you throw Callum Marshall on for 20 minutes and tell him to go and enjoy yourself.
You say about bringing Callum Marshall on. Any super subs that stand out, do you think, could come on and impact the game as well?
Callum, without a doubt.
Marshall and Taylor are guys that you think that can come on and really make an impact in the game. I suppose Paul Smith comes into that category too, as someone who can affect the game.
Yeah, no, that's a great starting 11. Let's hope that we.
I think we're about
it won't be that
14 there, don't we?
I think we fitted them all in there. We're going to play a game, GAWA Na or GAWA Ya. It's basically true or false. I'm going to read out a statement based on the two teams that we're playing, so Slovenia and San Marino. I'm going to start with San Marino. I'm going to say a statement. You say GAWA Ya if you think it's true, GAWA Na if you think it's false. We're going to keep score, see who wins, and you get some GAWA goodies as well. So we'll start with San Marino. We're playing them first. The capital of San Marino is San Marino. Have you been?
But 4 times.
Been a couple of times.
I should know, but I don't.
Both GAWA Na. It's actually GAWA Ya. There it is.
I was thinking Sarah Valley.
I thought so. That was what came into my head.
That was a trick question, that one. The population of Belfast is larger than the country San Marino.
I'm going to go yes.
Both saying yes, that's correct. GAWA Ya, Belfast is 345,000. San Marino is 33,000. So we're just...
Something similar to Armagh.
Something like that. Marino Railway Station in Hollywood is named after San Marino after a visit from the Italian president in 1960.
Too good not to be true.
I want that to be true.
You want it to be true? It's not true.
Nonsense.
GAWA Na.
It should be true.
It should be. It sounds good. Number 4. Former President Abraham Lincoln is an honorary citizen of San Marino. You know this one? Nice, yeah. It's GAWA Ya. They made him one after he wrote them a nice letter in 1861.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Easy, please.
Yes.
Get the pen out.
Start writing your letters there. The blue colour on the flag represents water and the yellow represents fire.
I'm going to say no.
Well, I'll say yes because we're level at the minute.
I suppose they're close to
Split down the middle. It's actually nah, so I'll point to yourself. Blue is sky and white is the snow on Mount Titano. So 3-2 to Gareth. Wow. Martin, it's your chance to come back. The largest city in Slovenia is Maribor, which is about 95 kilometres.
Oh no, I'm going to go for... It's going to be Ljubljana.
You're correct, Ljubljana, 277,000. Have you been to Slovenia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't there this time, but it was
There the last time?
a couple of times before.
Corey Evans, winner.
No, the game they were beat 2-0 in 2008, I think it was.
Oh, yes.
The time I was lucky enough, that was in Maribor. So there wasn't a big pile about it.
Number 2, Slovenia have a church in the middle of a lake.
Why not?
Churches are not my forte, but I might go to one in a lake.
Yeah, church on the lake is true. It's called Church of Mary the Queen, middle of the lake, Bled. There you go. I wonder how they get to that church.
That Lake Blade looks unbelievable. Like,
And church right in the middle of the
seen all
two.
the boys there the last time, like, and it just looks some,
Looks good.
It looks some spot. Like, it's better than Loch Ness at the minute.
Number 3 for Slovenia then. Slovenia have an annual cabbage festival. GAWA Ya. It's actually, 3-day festival in Stupava since 1996. It's as old as me, actually, that festival. So 5 each. We're going into the last 2 questions now.
Oh my word.
Many scenes in Harry Potter were shot in Slovenia. These Harry Potter fans? Going down the middle. It's actually no. It's actually the Chronicles of Narnia. That would make sense.
I know there's a lot of it in Dubrovnik.
Last one then.
I just need to go off.
Last one. Slovenia's population is less than Northern Ireland.
Come on.
Go on, we
I think
know.
I would say it's probably quite tight. I have a notion it's a wee bit less.
You are both correct. It's no. Slovenia has 2.1 million. Northern Ireland 1.8 million. So there we have
Congratulations.
it. Mark on 6 points. Gareth 7 points. Well done, Gareth.
That's what I said of the quiz.
We've got some goodie bags for you both. So here you go.
It's very kind, Stefan. Thanks very much.
No problem at all. Enjoy.
You just want to put the boots in as well.
For your Monday night football.
Oh, long since retired.
Moving on to actually my favourite part of this podcast, the memorable guest GAWA item. You guys both brought some items with you that are real memorable moments that stick out. We'll start with Gareth.
I was sort of asked to bring someone about home games. I'd be more of an away game sort of memorabilia guy, but I've only brought one wee thing here now, and I have it beside me here, and it's my Lego Michael O'Neill. So it is. I
love Lego.
Yeah, well, this is, I suppose we were in Denmark fairly recently too. So I think it was the London Northern Ireland Supporters Club got these done in around the time of the Euros, and it was all for a charity collection. So
I don't think he'd be too fond of the grey hair there, William.
I was going to say, he might have a few more since 2016.
I think Michael O'Neill has something to say about this Lego piece, to be fair.
I reckon that's a pretty good likeness, so it is. Also, I couldn't bring it with me here today, but I've a cracking panoramic photo of Windsor of the night that Northern Ireland beat Spain here in 2006, and for me that is still probably one of the greatest nights that there's ever been at this place. I know everyone talks about England, but like, let's face it, Spain were far better than England, and the fact that we beat them and then they didn't lose another game for like 4 years is just ridiculous.
I brought a couple of strange things. I'm a big collector of football shirts.
I'm excited to see this.
So I collect a lot of player shirts, but I mainly brought a couple of sort of random Northern Ireland shirts. So for older people, after
Not me then.
well, you can forget it. After this shirt, we had the pinstripe shirt, and then we changed. I think it was Asics, but they'd already designed a home shirt before the Asics deal started. So the shirt that we never got to wear is this.
And see the badges and like
It's in like a shield. So
that's quite nice actually. And do you know why we didn't release it?
I think it was purely because, as you can see, the IFA even got their little bit on it. Umbro basically lost the deal, and it went to Asics. So, and a bit further down the line, then probably under Laurie Sanchez, this would have been. Or Nigel. People will remember the design, but that was a prototype for an away shirt. I know a lot of Northern Ireland fans like red and white because it's the colour of the flag. and you see the flags actually in the colour of the shirt. So yeah, just something a little bit different.
It's quite nice.
Sort of
You must be maybe one of the only guys with some of them.
Yeah, I don't. I know a lot of people had those. I know because I think they were already made, but I think there's maybe only one or two of those about.
And you have another shirt, is that correct?
Yeah, just a little bit strange shirt. Sometimes mistakes happen, and they're always fun to see.
Liverpool fans may not agree.
It's one of the player shirts from a recent game. Connor Mack was good enough to give me the shirt. And if you turn it around the front, if you don't zoom in, it looks like a lovely shirt. You know, I'm very fond of this home shirt. But if you zoom in on the actual crest, maybe there was a little bit of a mistake there.
Limited edition, though. You're the only one with that.
Definitely, we'll keep that.
I love that. That's some great GAWA items there. Really like them.
Maybe
They
Lego
were nice.
Michael O'Neill's looking very... he's
Put one of these on him. Cover that grey hair.
I love that. Mark and Gareth, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 2. If you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment below as well, because you could be sitting here on these seats with me on this panel discussing all things GAWA. We'll see you in the next one.